Because Triple H puts butts in seats, and that's who you put the belt on. You don't put the belt on somebody that is not going to put a rear end every 18 inches, if you will. Another guy that's evolving as a superstar and that has won the title in dramatic fashion recently now is CM Punk. He's an evolving superstar. And, you know, I've heard people say that just because Vince McMahon and the whole steroid thing, it's been a year since the Benoit tragedy. We all know this. But everybody still says, that CM Punk's in his position to show that, oh, you can be a heavyweight champion in Vince McMahon's company without being a big bodybuilder, you know, a big muscle-bound freak. A guy looks like he's all jacked up on roids. But I don't think so. I think CM Punk has had it for a long time. He's been in the doghouse for quite some time, if you will. He won that Money in the Bank match, and he's been buried, and all of a sudden he wins the belt. So I was scratching my head a bit, but the way that he won it was a decent way. It was surprising, and that's what wrestling needs now, is because we have had no surprises in wrestling in such a long time. You know, and CM Punk won in surprising fashion, and now instead of having to prove that he's championship worthy before he won the belt, he's doing it after he won the belt. And I think that's a better way to do it, because you're not only having to work your way to the belt, you're trying to keep it. And everybody knows that it's hard to keep your title than it is to gain it. Because when you're going for the belt, nobody's targeting you. But once you get that belt, you got a big bullseye on your back, and everybody's targeting you. So CM Punk, you know, a month, 2 months down the line, you know, this guy may be a bomb. This guy may bomb as a character, but, you know, it's a risk. And Vince McMahon needs to start taking more risks. And, staying along this whole excitement thing, like I said with the CM Punk thing, it happened a week after the draft, and that's what I want to talk about now, too. Wrestling, WWE, it became stale after WrestleMania 24. Nothing was new. I mean, we had seen the same feuds over and over again. We saw Batista, Undertaker again. We've seen Undertaker, Edge now. We've seen John Cena, Triple H before. We've seen Triple H, Randy Orton before. We've seen every single feud that they played out after WrestleMania 24, you know, so many times that, you know, everybody just lost interest in the product because it was just the same feuds over and over again. Nobody really stepped up and, you know, reclaimed a new main event spot in the past year. And, you know, it's always good to come strong off WrestleMania. You know, you got to come off strong after WrestleMania, but these, you know, it didn't. So, yeah, the draft, in my opinion, it did a little spark, if you will, but I still don't think that WWE television is interesting. You know, I mean, I've been you know, yelling at my TV because I know that I could do better storylines and create better excitement than what I've seen on Raw. Raw is a flagship program. It's been around since 1993, my God. And, you know, the show sucks. You know, SmackDown used to be only a show that sucked. But Raw sucks now. You know, and UFC's taken over my mind. And wrestling in my whole mind, the whole product is pretty much sucking. You can't watch wrestling anymore without scratching your head and thinking, why in the heck are these guys... Why are these guys, these creative writers, these guys are getting paid hundreds of thousands or thousands of dollars a year to write storylines for a living? You know, have a pencil and a paper and just write down storylines for a living and then have them play out on national TV. Why are they making such crappy storylines? It's because none of the creative writers think they don't gotta do anything anymore. It's ridiculous. I mean, come on, guys. Give me the creative role for 1 month, and I guarantee you that I will turn the company back into being exciting again. I mean, a bunch of Boy Scouts could run the creative team better than these guys currently are, in my opinion. I'm not excited in anything I see on WWE television. And I used to always want to go, every single week I look forward to Raw because it was wrestling. I love wrestling. I still love wrestling. I just think it's really boring. Oh my God, it's just ridiculous. That, you know, so, and then now I'm pretty much, as you can tell, I'm on the status of WWE. I mean, I'm telling you, I don't know what is going on with these guys. I mean, it's not the wrestlers. The wrestlers can only do so much. It's an analogy that I've used so many times to my friends. I've used it on Eric Gargiulo's Pro Wrestling Radio Show. Is that you can have the best team in the NFL, say. All the guys on your defense have been Pro Bowlers. They've been to Super Bowls. They've been in playtime situations. They're all around. big all pros, you know, MVPs, what have you, on offense and defense, even on special teams. But if you got a coaching staff in there and they coach up the wrong plays for offense, defense, special teams, everything, you're going to get your butt kicked. You're going to turn into what the Miami Dolphins were. You're going to be 1-15. You know, I mean, not the Miami Dolphins enough talent, but I mean, come on, it's the coach. The coach really matters, not just the players. The players can only do so much, just like the wrestlers can only do so much. Hey, all right, as you can tell, that's my cat. You get out of the way here. Come on, come on, come on. Get down to the table. Yeah, that's my cat. It's a little sweetie, ain't she? Yeah. But anyways, the players and wrestlers can only do so much. It's because, you know, you have to write what they've got to do. You've got to make up what these guys got to do, and they got to do it for you. I mean, if they're good storylines and just the wrestling isn't there, the wrestlers aren't good for the storyline, then I can see it. But I mean, come on, the storylines ain't good for the wrestlers. It is ridiculous. Get down. Come on, get down. You're better than that. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, come on. And TNA, don't even get me started. Let me buy the company. I got $50. I'll buy the company from you, Dixie Carter. I'll buy it from you, and I'll try to turn it around. I think TNA has had so many chances that it's just dead. There's no reason to even have TNA. No reason. I mean, come on. Again, it's just like WCW in its latter years. You know, it put an ad in the paper. Anybody want to buy a wrestling product? Runs on Spike TV weekly for 2 hours. A bunch of wrestlers that do some high spots. No wrestling psychology in there anymore whatsoever. It's been beaten out of them by the creative team. You know, everything. Hell, the product's worth $10 in my opinion now. I was saying 50 to be polite. $10 will buy the TNA product for me. Heck, give it to me for free. Hey, how about this? You pay me to buy it. Yeah, that's right. You pay me to buy TNA. You know? It is ridiculous. I just can't believe how bad the product has become. You know, overall, and that's what I think makes... I think that's one of the bigger problems for WWE, is because there's no competition. That's why the creative is not as good as it is, because when you got competition, creative has got to step it up. You know, just like in football, you got a team coming after you, you're coaching, and the way you approach the game has got to step up. The same thing with professional wrestling. When you're the top dog in professional wrestling, and a company starts coming on, and fans are starting to gain interest, you've got to step it up before it gets too far. And WWE, they've stayed steady. You know, they've done things steadily. They haven't done too many surprises. And they stayed steady because TNA has not come on strong. They haven't done anything to come on strong. They've had a bunch of chances to come on strong, and it sucked. So, yeah, TNA, that's why it's pretty much a nail in the coffin that wrestling overall sucks right now, because we can't have good television from WWE because there's no competition. They ain't got no reason. They can just write whatever stuff they want in, and they know wrestling fans will come to them because TNA's product just overall sucks. And what are you going to do if you're a wrestling fan? Well, you know, you either have to turn it off, or, you know, or you just go, if you just watch WWE and just deal the cards that you're dealt. But now, I think it's bad because, I think it's different now because, many fans are turning wrestling off. I was one included. I didn't watch wrestling for a month over the summer. You know, and I was a fan that, you know, I'm fascinated with wrestling. I've always bought the DVDs. I've always, you know, got all the books. I did as much as I could. Whenever I had enough money, I bought whatever I could wrestling. But now it's like, I'll buy whatever I can UFC. I can't deal with wrestling anymore. It drives me nuts. Just the way that the product is run. You know, the overall product.